Hi, everyone. How are you? It's nice to be with you this evening. Welcome to Massive Sales via social media. We are getting started. It's so good to see you all. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And without any further ado, we will begin how we always do, which is so long as you're not driving, and close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath, just appreciating everything. Everything. How about that? Everything with a period at the end. Being grateful for this opportunity we have to be together, to totally transform our businesses. What a great thing. What a great commitment you've made to yourself by showing up here. Just breathing in possibility and exhaling any tension you feel in your body, any concerns about whether you got your homework done, any thoughts about what comes after this hour together, and just really allowing yourself to be fully present. We have some amazing content this evening, so just really exhaling anything that your mind is thinking about. If you're texting, Facebooking, and listening for the pizza delivery man all at once, see if you can negotiate any of that so your presence is really fully here. And just letting go of any fear, any agenda, any expectation. And breathing in hope. You can open your eyes. So, hi, it is so nice to be with you this evening, and we are content full tonight. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump right into target market. How do you find the people that are wanting to purchase from you? How can you find out what they're thinking? How can you stay connected with them? And how especially can you do all of that through social media? So, excellent questions. First off, what I'd like to start with is a little bit of the homework from last week. So just curious if you all have done your Think Up, which is getting in contact, or I think we just talked about contemplating who are 3 people who could change your business. So first, if you grab your pen and paper, the thing I want you to think about doing this week and do is really get in touch with 3 people who could change the landscape of your business. When you really look at the power of social media, the great thing about it is that you have millions and millions and millions of people that you can be connected with. And when you think about connecting with one person, be they a celebrity, be they someone who's a role model to you, be they someone who simply has the same target market that you do, the brilliant thing is that if you can engage visibly in any kind of conversation with them, you're bringing eyes to you. Now, the thing I would always also say is that you must bond first. So in some ways, I would suggest that you get in touch with them, and you can find people's email addresses on their info tab on Facebook. You can DM them on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You can find out a slew of information about them. But what you really want to do is make a heartfelt connection. So I'm not suggesting that you think about like Justin Bieber, like who's the most popular person. But what really works in doing this is if you really connect with people who really have significant implications for your business. So for instance, for me, what I found is when I was when I was first moving to Los Angeles, before I had moved here, I'd lived in New York for 20 years. And one of the things that I did before I moved out here was there's a spiritual center that has a lot of members who are active in social media. I friended every single one of them I could. And it's actually sort of interesting because I'll be very honest. Even though I do social media, I actually can be a bit shy. So I will tell you that I actually will sit today. I sat in a class, talked to someone who is my friend on Facebook, who I friended before I even moved to LA. They probably have no idea that they're my friend on Facebook. I didn't even acknowledge that I knew them from there. But it's a wonderful way to start to connect with people. So when you think about the people who can really radically change your business, what I really want you to contemplate too, and one of the things we'll talk about tonight, is really being in your purpose. Because what's going to work always is if you are firmly rooted in the why of why you're alive, business is going to be so much easier. It's like rivers when they dig out new areas of the earth to flow down. If water needs to go a new way, you'll find that water will start to go that way. And I can't think of the exact terminology for it. But if you are firmly planted in your purpose, it is going to be much easier, because what you're going to find, which is the piece that you don't know about your business yet, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, is that there are truths about you that your target market is picking up on that you probably are not even certain of. I've had clients who, once they've started interviewing people and doing informational interviews, which we'll talk about a bit more today too, they thought, I am the best web designer in the world. I am so creative with my graphics and things I do on websites. People, that's why they choose me. And do you know what she found out when she got on the phone with people? That what they actually were saying was that, first of all, she really took a hold of their business like it was her own. And that's why they chose her. Also, that she had integrity. A lot of people were running into web designers who would just bolt and take off, and they loved that she had integrity. So what was fascinating is that when she puts out her messaging, when she puts up her own website, what we've really started to do is change her marketing so it reflects those things, because people are actually going to be attracted to those qualities, not just the fact that you're a web designer. There are 5 bazillion web designers in the world, and there are so many more people than that who need web designers. If you think that you need to corner your market, you're actually wrong. I don't know what you would do if you had everyone who could possibly use your services. But once you start to get clear on that piece that actually is a little bit, I think it's Jacari's window, if I am not mistaken, that I keep hearing a lot about lately, where there's a portion of things we know about ourselves. There's a portion of things that our clients know about us that we don't know about ourselves. There's a portion of things that our clients don't know about us and we don't know about us also. Fortunately, I don't think we really have to go there, at least for the purposes of this course. And then there's another window, and you all can certainly let me know what that is. I don't want to forget to mention on Facebook, you do want to go join the group Massive Sales via social media, ! Because you'll find each other there. And you certainly do want to be bonding. You want to be helping each other. You want to be masterminding. You want to be running posts by one another. So community really is key. The reason that social media works is because we really do want to be intimate with one another. So in particular, if you're thinking there is no way that I'm joining that Facebook group, this means you. It means we've found your block. Here's the problem. You need to get on that group. You need to be talking to people that are there every day. It's a wonderful way to form community. So anyway, back to the Jacari's window. What we're going to start to see is that there are certain qualities in you that your target market is pulled towards. So it's not just that you sell sneakers. It's that you're really irreverent and have like a black comedy sense of humor, and that's why people buy your sneakers. Or you're really pure of heart and you're really connected with God, and that's why people buy your sneakers. Or it just doesn't always have that much to do with exactly what you're selling. So do your think ups. Think about the people you really resonate with, and you don't want to think from here. You really want to think from your gut. And so when I started doing my think ups for my company, and to this day, I mean, I do it all the time. It's like connect with 3 people a week that could dramatically change your business. Get in touch with them. Connect in a heartfelt way. Ask them to look at your product and give you feedback. Ask them what they think of your product. Ask them if you can give them some of your free product. Just connect with them, because it only takes one tweet. It only takes them saying to their 20,000 fans, you've got to check out this person's hair accessories. They're amazing, to totally change the landscape of your business. Many of you might think today's class is about target market, so Lindsay's going to teach me how I go out there and I click one friend at a time, I follow one person at a time, I get one LinkedIn connection at a time, and that's how I build my business. No, that's not really the way that you want to look at building your business. Certainly it's a possible way to do it, and there's room to absolutely do that, but what we're really going to look at and what really changes people's businesses is leveraging large groups of people. So you got to ThinkUp. If you haven't done it, do it. If you've done it, keep doing it. I could tell you stories. Feel free to ask on the Facebook page. I will tell you miraculous stories of business that I've gotten from doing ThinkUp. So, informational interviews, I just want to touch on this again. I had you write a list of the people who've actually purchased from you and what the qualities are that they share. In your informational interviews, what you want to do is start scheduling with them time where it's recorded, and you can use all sorts of, there are a multitude of free or low-priced recording services that are out there. You want to record a 5 to 7 minute conversation with folks. You want to ask them, how did they hear about you? And these are your buyers. Again, this is not your sister, this is not your mother, this is not your husband. These are people who have purchased from you. If no one's ever purchased from you, I want you to really in your gut think about who actually would purchase from you. Not who should purchase from you, but let me be clear if I haven't. Target market means nothing if they're not buying. So when we're talking about the people that are in your target market, it is the people who are actually paying you for your services. It will be mind-boggling to you when you get them on the phone and start to ask them questions, because you're going to start to see patterns that when you listen to the recordings will blow your mind. So here are some questions you want to ask. You want to ask people, how did you hear about me? What drew you to working with me? Because it's one thing to hear about somebody, say, oh yeah, you should take Lindsay Wilson's social media class. It's another thing that you've come on a free web show and you've seen me, you've seen some of my Facebook posts, you've heard some of the results I've gotten people. One of those reasons, or another one of those reasons, is why you're all here. You want to find that out from your target market. Then you want to ask them, what is their biggest pain in whatever your field is. So if your field is relationship coaching, what's your biggest challenge, your biggest pain, your biggest difficulty? Use whatever word really works for you in your relationships. What is your biggest difficulty with skincare? What is, you all can figure it out. And then after that question, there are a variety of things that you can do, but what you're going to start to listen for is people are going to say things like they were drawn to you because of how passionate you are. Those are the little things we really want to look at, because ding, ding, ding. What you need to do to increase your target market is go out and find passionate people. I was talking to someone that I do sales managing for this week, and I was saying, I can sit there on Facebook and flip through and pick out people just by how they look. It's interesting because as I start to look more and more at my target market, of course, in an odd way, they start to end up looking a bit like you. Like there's a certain body type that my target market has. You cannot tell me that people that are in need of social media help all have a certain body type. It's because they're resonating with unconsciously what I'm putting out there, or if I'm putting posts up about my wedding, they're resonating with that. There are all sorts of reasons. But we don't choose, it's very, very rare, especially in an economy like this, where we choose something simply based on price alone, or simply based on features or benefits alone. We're also absolutely choosing the spirit, the customer service experience. There are a multitude of things that come up. So I'd also, just from a sales perspective, throw in your informational interview. You want to ask them what it would feel like if their biggest challenge or biggest pain were overcome, because that also lets you know exactly what you want to do in terms of sales copy. You want to say, you will feel at peace. You will feel magnificent. You will feel like cream of the crop, like whatever those words are, and you'll find that there's a majority of them that will all be the same. That's your market. Those are the words they're going to respond to. And you also want to ask them, do they have any suggestions for you? They'll start to tell you things like your customer service stinks. Or they'll tell you things like your gift wrap is problematic. Or they'll tell you things like, my cousin Betsy has 20 friends who absolutely want to buy things from you. Why don't you call her? You should be doing these things like quarterly in your business. It is brilliant. And then move on. You can spend your life doing informational interviews, but you don't want to do it. But what you really need to do before you go out looking anywhere in social media for your target market is have a really clear idea of what it is that people are drawn to about you. So I'm going to assume that you wrote your list from last time and you wrote down some of the qualities of those folks, because we are looking with new glasses when you do this. And this is actually how you want to go out and start to find your target market. You want to start to think of things like this. So, and also, I will just say, target market, you'll hear people talk about it all the time. You don't want to create some fake woman, Jane Smith, who's 41, who has 3 dogs and whatever. That doesn't work. Honestly, the best thing you can do is figure out who is the person that you have helped the most. Who is the person that it's been the most enjoyable to work with? Who is the person who loves your products and you love selling to? Get a picture of that person, print it off from Facebook, tape it onto your computer. When you are writing any of your posts in social media, it needs to be written directly to that person. I will tell you what happens very often is this. I have clients, there was one client in particular who'd be like, every time I get on Facebook to post, I hear my sister and she's calling me stupid. Well, your sister is not your target market most often. So what you need to do is on your camera, you need to have a little picture of the person that you have helped transform the most. And when you're writing your post, you're writing it specifically to them. So let's say if I wake up with all of my stuff and I get on Facebook. I hope I don't get on Facebook with all my stuff, but let's say I do. And I'm thinking, oh, all these people have all these judgments. All these people are thinking all of these things. And then I'm going to write a post about social media. So my post would probably sound something like this. Did you know that millions of people are using social media? And if you don't use it for sales, you're totally missing out. Like, that lands flat for all of you. None of you are here because that was anything that I said or stood for. But that's me with my stuff. Now, if I take a risk and take it down a little bit lower, and I think about my target market, and I think about the person that I've helped the most ever in teaching social media, and it's risky. I'm not saying that this stuff is easy, but I'm also saying, like, if you start to do your sales in this way, if you start to participate in social media this way, I can't even tell you, and I start to get chills just thinking about it. The kinds of miraculous interactions that have happened with people are so much better than any kind of like pre-programmed, horrible, yucky post that you would put up when you're up there defending yourself against the people who think that you're nuts. So if I really think about who I've really helped, and I really think about writing a post to social media, I would write like this. You are spectacular. And you deserve everyone in the world to know about you who needs you. Come, let me show you how. Entirely different. And I'm not going to say that that will resonate with every single one of you, but it resonates in a really, really different way. So the teaching in this is a little bit twofold. Your posts have to match up with your target market. Otherwise, they're never going to know it's you. You're going to friend them. They're going to see a couple of posts that you write about. And, you know, there are... Today, I wrote about one of my clients who I adore, who's doing a brilliant sweepstakes. Go to my fan page. Join her page. You might win some awesome products and stuff. I love her. And that absolutely is reflected in the post as well. But if your posts every day are for other people, if your posts every day are quotes by other people, if your posts every day are singing someone else's praises, as you start increasing your numbers, people give you maybe 1 or 2 times before they block you from their top news feed. So you really, at this point in building your business and social media, need to be really in your purpose, in your truth, in your passion, and speaking directly to the needs of those people in your target market. So for an example, I'll take it even one more step. So the other step is if I look at this from the other side. I love to do this. It's like checks and balances. So if I really think about what are the qualities that the people in my target market share. So, okay. And these may not fit all of you, and they may, but I'm going for it. So I would say a lot of times my target market is a little bit afraid. either of technology or of sounding too salesy. What it comes down to a lot is about visibility. And so there's a little bit of fear of sort of being naked in front of Facebook. Just really showing their hearts just is a little bit like they'd rather not. They'd rather have good manners. If that's you, then I've got your number, which is awesome. And then I would also say spectacular hearts, really great things, up to beautiful, amazing things. If I could get their products and services to everyone in the world, I would. Just really, really wonderful people, full of integrity, really up to good stuff, really care about people. And then let's see, because it's always good to have sort of a third thing. And then, you know, what's interesting, and I think this will be helpful to you all, because this has been a big pivotal point for a lot of my clients. And I say it against my own wanting to hear it, but we do attract people like ourselves a lot. So I would say that the majority of my clients, and God bless you if you are a huge urbanite and really chic and, you know, like highly cosmopolitan, which is what I've wanted to be my whole life, living in New York and LA. And it's not where I come from, and it's not who I am. And generally the demographics, or I don't even want to use that word. I'm not going to hide behind that word. A lot of times I find people like from the Midwest, which is exactly where I'm from, who resonate with what I have to say. So if we take those three things and we look at those three qualities and we think about, so if I'm going to appeal to someone who's a little afraid, in that post that I just wrote, I said, "You're spectacular." Well, that sort of calls them up to the plate and makes them feel warm and welcome. And that's going to certainly appeal to someone who feels a little bit shy or afraid. Also, they're afraid of sounding salesy, etc. And so what's brilliant about that post is at the end I said, "Come, join me," which is different than "you, get over here, you stink because you're not doing this," or "you need to be bossed around." That's not what's going to entice someone who's afraid. I also spoke in a really heartfelt, non-slick way. You can talk about social media with like all the widgets and gadgets and techno whatever, and I didn't talk that way. I mean, honestly, you probably do like me if you're Midwestern or not urban, because I don't actually speak in that post in a way that's all that urban. I'm not like, "Yo, what's up with your social media?" Nope, not me. It's just not who I am. And then what was the third piece? I'm blanking on the third piece. You all will remind me, which is great. But we start to see it when I check and balance this. It all makes sense. So this is a new you in social media. Your posts need to be a new you. So all of that groundwork covered. Now what are we going to do in terms of actually finding them? Because, you know, originally when I taught this class for the first time, I thought, oh, this is just about like if they sell, you know, I had a client who sells caps. She had had Graves' disease and lost some of her hair, and she didn't like wearing her husband's ball cap with numbers on it and going out. She wanted to feel pretty, so she made adorable caps. And so then we started thinking about things like cancer and wearing pink, and she could go to all of those groups and find those people, and all of that's true. But this is what we're talking about. Like, not everyone... Honestly, not everyone who would go through chemotherapy would want a fun, frivolous hat. There are plenty of people who want to be incognito. So it would be sort of crazy for us simply to say, oh, just friend everyone who's on a group page for cancer. Not actually going to work. So here's some keys. First of all, to know the brilliance of social media is this. If you tap into a group of people, they're connected. And we all tend to be connected to people who are somewhat similar to us. They say that if you take the salary of the 5 people you spend the most time with and average it out, you'll know your salary for the next coming years, which is sort of interesting and scary and wild. So in the same way, if you find me in social media and I'm your target market, there are probably 10 to 50 to 500 of me's that are connected to me. When you and I start interacting in social media due to the algorithm for the top news feed, all of our friends are going to start to see it. If we're interacting about something, you know, if I put that post up there, I generally don't use examples about myself, but just sometimes the examples I use are so out of the blue they don't make sense, so we'll go there for a minute. And I think it's good for you all to see really the real deal about this and the transparency of it. So if I put a post up that says, "You are spectacular," and the world needs you and your gifts, and I would like to take you there. So come join me. And that's paraphrased. If you are my target market and you see that and you go, oh my gosh, okay, so like, how do I get there? I'm betting there are 5 to 10 of your friends who will see that post and have that exact same response. The error that we make in social media most often, I'm just going to be frank, is not that we're too salesy. It's that we're way too afraid. We're totally hiding. If you really, this is what's fascinating. Like, think about reality TV for a minute. How real is it? We know that a lot of it's staged. We know that people aren't acting the way that they would act if the cameras were off. When reality TV came out, at first we were more like, wow, they're really showing real things here. Same thing with social media. Like, how real in social media are you? Like, I'm not going to go put on my wall today, I have cramps. I feel like going back to bed. Now, some people might do that. If you're in business, I doubt you're probably going to do something like that unless it's related to your business. So I'm not actually asking you to really put, please don't put things that you are not comfortable having other people really know about you up there. However, know this, that if you're hiding, and you know if you're hiding, I don't need to tell you if you're hiding. If it doesn't leave you feeling a little vulnerable when you get off of Facebook, when you get off of Twitter, when you get off of YouTube, when you get off of any of the sites, I'm going to dare say you're probably blocking a bit of income. You're probably not really putting yourself out there in a way that will grow your sales tremendously. Now, are there a million other ways to do business? Absolutely. But a free way that gets you connected to millions of people instantaneously internationally? No. I can connect with every little girl sitting in the Midwest that I would like to today that is on social media in a way that when I was a little girl in the Midwest, no one could connect with me. It's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant opportunity. So after you've figured out, like, really, I don't even want to say it's the psychographics, but after you've really figured out, like, who is that person that you've transformed, and put them by your camera on your computer, or, on your computer, their pictures, so that you're writing to them every day. Really, start delivering what you deliver. What's that 3-word passion from last time? If you're here to, uplift people's souls, then your posts on a daily basis, except, maybe the day you put up that you've got cramps, should say something that uplifts their souls. It's really quite simple, and they'll really start resonating with you. So specifically, how do you go find these people? Great questions. So if someone is not spending money with you, where are they spending money? It's a beautiful place to begin with. Yep, they could be spending with your competitors. You can spend your entire time trying to get people to purchase from you instead of your competitors. I wouldn't actually recommend it. The people who are on your competitors' pages probably aren't really the people who are going to buy from you. I mean, possibly, if you're really, both highly competitive, ingenious, brainstorming neurosurgeons or something. But I'm going to guess one of the neurosurgeons is a little bit more relaxed. And so it's really a very different market base. So really think about where they're spending money. Go to those pages. Find them there. Where do they go to dinner? Where's your target market eat? Does your target market go to Starbucks? There's a way that if you tap into, if you discover that really your target market is a very earnest, hopeful, gung-ho, a little bit in their naivete, if you tap into one person like that, you're going to find a multitude of them. They're all going to need sneakers, by the way. So you want to look at it from this way also, because social media, the way to really get sales is by really bonding with people. Another thing to think about in terms of target market. You want to get in touch with people of influence. So it's not just finding the one person who will buy your basketball hoops. It's also about getting in touch with people who've got 5,000 friends, getting in touch with people who've got 20,000 people who like their page, getting in touch with people who've got groups that have pages, and being in interaction with them. Because that kind of publicity, that kind of going back and forth in social media with those people is going to attract a slew of new people. If you write something, if you retweet someone who's very well known, who you just love, and you put a couple of words in there and say how great their tweet was, and they respond back to you, inevitably you're going to get more followers just from that. Now, if you're retweeting all over the place stuff that doesn't actually even matter to you, you'll also get followers. They won't be the people who will buy from you. It's an old way of looking at things, but a visual that I love. You talk about a sales funnel. So a funnel starts at the top and starts to go down more and more. So at the beginning of this process, you're just gathering people from all over everywhere. Well, at the very end of this process, out comes a credit card. If you lose them at any point in that process, it doesn't really matter. So I don't actually care how many people you get in the top of your funnel. I know plenty of people. I can pick up the phone for most of you and make a sale today, and you didn't need like even 2 people necessarily to be possibilities for that. We just need people who are actually going to purchase. So think about people of influence. Get in touch with them also. Be in interactions with them. Another wonderful idea, become a resource. So if your products are for mothers who are over 40, and that is really the common theme that you see coming through, and you may sell like jewelry kits, but it's all mothers over 40. So again, if this comes from your brain, it's not going to work. Let me be clear. This requires real sleuthing out and really looking at your market. And get on the Facebook page. Ask other people to take a look at your market. Very often it's hard for us to see stuff about our own things. Very often. It's very rare that any of us can see our business completely with our own eyes. So if you're having mothers over 40 who buy your jewelry kits, then perhaps what you want to do is start a page for mothers over 40. You'll get a slew of people there who will come. You can provide content for them, which is what you want to be doing anyway. If your sales are stifled, if your sales are not happening, the best thing I can tell you is get out there and get your services or your products being used, being enjoyed. I don't care if you have a handbag line and you cannot sell a handbag. Just start sending your handbags out to people with return postage included. Ask them to do reviews of your handbag. Start to get those testimonials up on your page. If you have skincare products and no one's purchasing, start to give out samples. Get people buzzing about your stuff. If you are sitting holding your things and not selling, you're not going to start selling magically. It's not that you're lacking clients. You're also lacking being out in the world with your services. This is different than giving away everything and not charging anything for it. If you are consistently giving away everything, stop it. And we need to have a whole other conversation, which we can have. But if you're not selling and you're hoarding things, I know why you're not selling. So create resources. You know plenty of information, or if you realize all of your clients actually are mothers over 40, it behooves you to spend 5, 10, 15 minutes a day searching out new information about mothers over 40, posting that on the page. The opportunities it provides are endless. You can buy Facebook ads that will only appear for your page. So you've created a captive audience of people who will purchase from you, and Facebook ads right there that they can purchase from. You can have once a week an opportunity for them to purchase, or a special for them on your products. It's wonderful. You really want to think about big ways to connect with a lot of people. Does it work to go out there and go, okay, so it's mothers over 40. I'm going to go to other people's mothers over 40 page, click away and start to find people there. I'm going to look at their posts. I'm going to see if they're soulful mothers over 40, because I really realized that I really want my clients to be soulful. I like soulful people. I'm gonna friend all those people. Will all of that work? Yeah, to a certain degree. Facebook at a certain point will start to say to you, you don't know this person. don't friend them. Or the person will send a message back that goes, you don't know me, don't friend me. But if you start to expand your circle, if you start to give opportunities for people to come to you and participate with you, you'll find more people that way. And if you connect with people with a large number of friends and are interacting with them, and they are of your demographic, they are of your ilk, they are cut from the same cloth, what will start to happen is you'll populate in the newsfeed. For instance, I have a Facebook fan page, a like page. The benefit for me is that I've got pretty much 5,000 friends, and I need a place for the overflow to go. I am not at the moment actively doing anything to promote that page. I know this will go. So many people are like, I just want fans. I just want people to like me. My business will be great. I'm so here to tell you that that's completely wrong. The number of people that you have on the page where they can like you directly does not correlate to how much money you have coming in. It might directly correlate to how great you feel about yourself, and that's awesome. If you want that, go for it. But because of the posts that I put up and because of the interactions I get on my like page, my numbers are growing every day. Why? It's because of the top news feed, because people see me interacting there. They see the substance of what I'm providing. It resonates with them. They like me. So think about big ways. Think about big numbers. Think about JVs. Who on the Massive Sales via social media page has the exact same target market that you do? Throw what your target market is up there. People love, I say this all the time, but it's like the little puppy who rolls over on his back and shows his belly so the big dog doesn't bite him. And says, I'm here to play. If you put posts like that up, my target market is this. Does anyone else have this target market? Think about doing a web show with them. Web shows make sales like nobody's business, and we will continue to talk about that. But the other thing I would mention is get over your fear of cameras. That's your next homework for next week, because in terms of motivating large numbers of people to purchase, it's fascinating. I was reading an article recently about they were looking at the apps on Facebook, and after a certain amount of popularity, then the sales would go up. Like, it was tremendous once they hit a certain threshold that people would like them so much more. And so, am I contradicting what I said before? Actually, no. Because, if you're Coca-Cola and you are watching this video, God bless you. And I don't even know if I want Coca-Cola as a client. But what we're talking about for the majority of you are, you can connect with one person, make a $20,000 deal, changes your month, changes your quarter, changes your year. So you can watch the prior video if you'd like to hear me talk more about 10,000 people liking you and what that actually works for. But I will get off of that soapbox and we'll move on to some other things. So some other great ways to leverage people. On Twitter, there are a bazillion different opportunities to automate finding followers. On eBay, you can buy followers. One that is for sale right now, and so who knows, someone may buy it and it may not be there tomorrow, but tweepml.org. That's TWEEPML, like Mary Lance.org. You enter a search term, you get a huge list of people who fit that search term. You can create your own lists there also. And in a couple of clicks, you can follow all of those people. You can find lists where they'll follow you back. On Twitter, if you reach 2,000 people that you are following and not enough people are following you back, they will stop you until more people follow you. So one thing I would say is you really want to think about this not being a numbers game. You want to think about it being an interaction game. And I would also say, if you're someone who just posts and doesn't go have conversations with anyone, you're actually not helping yourself in a large way there also. It just doesn't, you don't get the payoff. Because if all you're doing is posting, people don't feel met. They don't feel embraced. They can't feel the bond. And they're not going to want to buy from you through social media. It's almost worth, I do post on a daily basis. I think it's good. But you also really want to be interacting. I would also highly suggest here 2 tools that I love. And if you don't know about the Mashable blog, you want to check it out. It's a wonderful social media blog. It's Mash, like mashed potatoes, MASHABLE.com. If you search in there how to create lists on Facebook and Twitter, this is a phenomenal tool, and it is a huge time saver. You can create a list of your friends in Facebook or the people you follow on Twitter, and you can make on Twitter that list private. I would recommend that you do it if you're choosing your target market, because you probably don't want to share your target market with the whole world. But you can create a target market list on both Facebook and Twitter. And so that when you get on social media every night, it's not like, oh my gosh, I need to respond to 89 people. No, you don't. If you're on there for sales, what you actually want to be doing is interacting with the people that you feel will purchase from you. And if you've got them all on a list, it just pops them right up. So if you've got 10 people in your target market list, you just go in and interact with those 10 people a day. It's a very fast, easy way to keep current with social media. It really keeps your finger on the pulse of what's happening also. I mean, if you think that your target market is not, watching your target market seriously in social media, you can start to see they all run and go purchase something from someone else. You can start to see that they're all upset about the weather. And then you can put a post about the weather. I mean, there are a multitude of ways to capitalize, but it's almost like looking at what they're up to every day is a way for you to, it's like watching the news. When else have you had the opportunity to watch the news of what your target market is caring about and doing? Never. It's freaking brilliant. So you definitively want to make those lists. And then you weed them in and out. If you are the nutritionist and the girl is still eating the Girl Scout cookies and she's not responding to you, take her out of your target market list. You always want to keep it current. And on a daily basis, you want a target market list. Just in general, like even if it's not on social media, if anyone is contemplating purchasing from you or you're close to feeling like they will, you want that in a list. You want to know what the last thing you talked to them about was. You want to know when their birthday is. You want to know that they have a dog named Pluto. You want to keep all of these things current so that you can be engaged in relationship building, because that is really how sales work in a social media world. I will tell you, anyone who is up there plastering their junk is not making business from social media. Just isn't happening. The underside of it is there are a lot of people who are making business because they're saying, we'll get you 10,000 followers in 2 days. Watch our new widget. So everyone goes and pays for that. And then those people aren't making money. So the people who really are making bank in social media are the people who are utilizing it in a social way. And that means following social etiquette. That means really engaging with people, really caring about people, really providing substance. And all of those things will start to translate to sales. So I want to mention also that on Facebook, if you've not done this, if you have an email list of people, you want to go in and run that through Facebook. You can upload your contacts. And so all of a sudden, if you have an email list of 200 or 2,000, you can friend them very quickly. And they don't have to accept it. It's not spam. I would not suggest after you click, yes, friend all of these people who Facebook has found that coordinate with those email addresses and actually are there. The next step is, okay, so here's a huge list of people who are not on Facebook. Do you want to send an invite to them? I wouldn't suggest doing that. That feels a little bit spammy to me. But if folks are on Facebook, you can absolutely friend them. It'll increase your list immensely. And what's also wonderful is if you've not done that, you will immediately be able to see so much information about your target market. These people who have been just folks who've ordered online all of a sudden have faces. You'll see that everyone is like from the Northwest. Everyone has children. Everyone wishes they'd been in a rock band. Like when we're down to that place that you really get clear on your target market, then you're really cooking, because it's so easy to identify them. It will blow your mind. Another piece I'll mention too is in terms of LinkedIn. One thing I really want to recommend is the recommendations. If you don't have a number of people who have recommended your work on LinkedIn, you're missing the boat. Because just today I had a client who I referred, she was wondering about a specific task that someone could do, and I said this person would be good. She promptly went to LinkedIn, looked at the person's recommendations, cannot wait to hire them. So when people are researching you, very often what they'll do is do that through LinkedIn. So you need to connect with people first before you can ask them for a recommendation. And then you can enter, into Google LinkedIn recommendations, or you can simply click on, I believe it's under the profile tab on LinkedIn for recommendations. But you want to have 4 really solid recommendations for what it is you do now. Because if I'm contemplating buying something from you, and I feel pretty good about it, and I'm of a personality type that I like to do some research, absolutely I'm going to run over to LinkedIn. I'm going to see what folks are saying about you. I'm going to see if really you're that great. And, the deal is LinkedIn and the recommendations it's not like Wikipedia or something where they're reading actual facts about you. It's simply, the people that you've asked to say stuff, and you get to say, yes, I'd like this recommendation there, or no, I wouldn't like this recommendation there. But you really do want to have, I think you can also have like too many recommendations because it starts to look a little bit stacked. But you want to have a fair representation of your work there. I think it's really, really important. I did mention testimonials briefly when I gave the handbag analogy or the handbag suggestion. And so I will just say again that another thing that you really want to be contemplating doing if you've not done it yet is testimonials. You want people, and I don't care if it's video, I don't care if it's written. The easiest way to get great testimonials is to send people sentences. It's like Mad Libs. You say, the best thing about working with Susan was, and have them fill in the blank. Because anything they put is going to sound like they really like you. I would recommend Susan to, and most people will put everyone. But if you have that in a testimonial, looks outstanding. If you can get people to do video testimonials, that's awesome. Video increases sales by like 60% according to some studies, so it's never bad. At the same time, I will say that some people are getting exhausted at looking at videos, and so we're not watching every single video in the same way that we did when video was sort of like a new fun groovy thing. And here's another tip too, like with your target market, I was blown away. Somebody did this for me and it was really amazing. And this is a tool. This is what happens. Invariably, I end up saying a tool during the class that I go, why am I not doing that? So I'll tell you, the most recent time I taught the class, I said to people, you should send out handwritten cards to everyone because on Facebook, it's got their birthdays. So just have those ready and send it out. Like that's an astounding, huge, it feels so good. 44 cents for the stamp. Takes you just a few minutes. So now I've started sending out cards. So here's another great idea. With your target market, you can record a video and send it as a message via Facebook. Someone did that for me and I was just blown away. And they'd just taken a couple of minutes and it wasn't perfect. But the intimacy that you feel with me while you're watching this versus a few typed things makes a tremendous difference. So if you're doing follow-up with your target market and just send out a video, and it really needs to be connected. Here's the other thing too, that there is a disconnected way to do all of this that feels awful to other people. So you really need to drop into your body, drop into your heart, drop into your purpose, like why are you really here, and deliver that through a video. So if you say, just wanted to let you know that I was thinking about you today, and I hope you're really doing well. I send you so much light and love. If my purpose is to uplift, I've just done that. If your purpose, your 3-word purpose, is to like knock people into shape, and I know that that's 4 words, your video might be like, did you exercise today? If not, whatever. It's so not my purpose. So someone can fill in the blanks for me. But you want to be in your purpose when you're doing these videos, when you're doing your posts, when you're reaching out, any of those things. It's all crucially important. So I'm just checking my notes to make sure that I haven't missed anything. I think that really begins to start to talk about how you connect with your target market. I will say Facebook is always changing. So recently I've found a lot of people, they'll get blocked after a certain amount of time. If Facebook gives you a warning and says, you're friending too many people, if your little box that pops up turns red, if they say, are you sure you know this person? My recommendation to you is not to push it because Facebook owns your information. Facebook can take down your information. I've seen Facebook do that. It's not something to be paranoid about, but you just don't want to push past your limits. But when we start to really realize that it's not just like friending each single solitary person, but really finding large groups of people who are connected, who will resonate with you, finding people that are in your target market. So it's like if you have 5 people who are your friends right now on Facebook and you're like, how am I ever going to get to a large enough number? Because I will tell you, when you start to get to about 2,000, people will start friending you. And if you have been friending your target market consistently during that time, it's your target market friending you. It is like brilliant, fun, amazing. You are building the foundation of that now. It sometimes is a little bit tenuous, a little bit difficult, and it will pay off in spades long term. I cannot tell you on the opposite end the number of people that I know that have 5,000 friends who just accepted any friend request that came to them. And basically what they've got is 5,000 people who wanted to network and sell their stuff to them. So the 5,000 doesn't actually help them that much. That's not what you're wanting to create here. Really important. You're wanting quality connections with people who will purchase from you. Hugely important. So, excuse me, a little bit of the flu left over. So, start friending folks. Start connecting with each other in social media. Start singing each other's praises. Start to get to know one another. You have just connected to a community. Through the doors of my class, I would say the amount of people that are reflected in all of the numbers of all of the connections would have to be, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you, hundreds of thousands of people. So if you start connecting on the Facebook page, if you start sharing who you really are, if you start sharing who your market really is, if you start looking for other people who are like-minded, who are also building their social media presence. So when you're adding 10 new friends today, they'll also be adding 10 new friends today. It gives you it's like the exponential ability of you to be selling to a slew of people happens so quickly. And then when you start to think about things like not being afraid of your video camera, because it sounds like Lindsay's going to ask you to do a video show soon, which she's going to. Let me just tell you, I am going to ask you to do a video show soon. It's how money is pouring in for people. It feels intimate. There are always technical glitches. People are watching simply to see, how does she handle it when she has to put a cough drop in her mouth? How does she handle it when she needs a Kleenex? How does she handle it when, Ustream crashes? You handle it with grace and ease, It's like they say, if you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. If you put a person under pressure, if you squeeze them, you get out of them whatever is in them. So just know that technology has some difficulties. Hugest way to sell. And so instead of me, I will tell you, Facebook events, lovely, wonderful way to start to get people to come to your web show. And I don't even look at my Facebook events, my invites, ever. And I am on social media 40 hours a week. Never check them. Too overwhelming, too much spam, too awful. But what I will do is I will say to my close friends and clients, I'm doing a show this week. Can you do me a favor and post it on your wall? Say something nice about me. I'm happy to do the same for you. And what's brilliant about that is, so if a friend of mine who's of like mind, who delivers like quality, like graceful, with integrity, truthful experiences for her clients, if she puts that on her wall, priceless. Because it's exposure to a slew of people who are looking for me. They're getting the same sorts of results from her. These are the ways that you want to think about using social media. And if you are sitting there playing Farmville, if you are retweeting people that you're trying to please, if you are, there's so many things you can do that are such a waste of time in social media. So I would take that number from last session, the number that you need to make per month, Put it up there by the picture of the person you have transformed the most. And when you sit on social media, go, am I getting towards that goal? And if not, that's fine. It does not count as business time. If you are not clear about a way that what you're doing in the moment might yield money, it is just social media time. You're just hanging out. You can be playing golf. You could be doing anything you want to. It is not business time. And that's a hard one. Me with my 40 hours a week, I can't even tell you the kinds of stuff that you can spend a lot of time doing a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with your business and social media. And so I sit there and I look at the number and I go, wow. So is this getting me closer to my goal, or is this not getting me closer to my goal? And it'll make things much clearer for you. It is true that you could waste so much time in social media. You can pretend to have a business and be on Facebook all day. And you can make a multitude of friends on Facebook all day, and they have nothing to do with your business either. But I want you to start to think expansively. I also would encourage you, and this is a new one, but JVs are joint ventures. Now, I will tell you, I come from a service-based world in terms of what I offer. Most of my students actually end up being product-based people in the last cycle. So people are like, I can't do a web show because I sell powder. Or I can't do a web show because I need to lose 30 pounds. That's what it really ends up being about most of the time. Or I can't do a web show because I don't have any friends I can borrow a webcam from. All those I don't buy. I don't believe any of those. And even, I've had people who it's been really difficult for. And so what you do is you start it off and you say, you know what? So I don't know. There could be a really good, my face is totally broken out tonight and I'm so embarrassed to be on a web show and I'm going to do it. So I just hope that you all will really hold me in your good thoughts and know that this is the most courageous thing that I think I've ever done in my adult life. Do you know what kind of intro that is? Do you know that people are so bonded with you? Do you know that probably your entire target market is sitting there with something that they feel that same sense of isolation about? So, joint ventures usually means I pair up with some kind of other coach, or two product people pair up together and they do something together. They share each other's lists together. They both promote it together. I want you to think very clearly in a way that's smart for your business who's someone you can do a joint venture with this week. You can certainly do joint ventured web shows, even if it is just introducing your product to the world. Breaking through that visibility, I will tell you that my clients and students who are willing to do web shows and willing to be that visible, their businesses are rocketing. And so I don't know if it's about courage. I don't know what it is. But I want you to think of who's someone who's of like mind, because it's very important in business to be involved with people who are of like mind. You don't want yucky, jerky people. And if this assignment only gets you to the point where you go, wow, I'm really isolated and I don't know anyone that I'd like to do something to promote my business with, brilliant. We have found the block for you. That's where we need to go in and fix things up. So I really want you to think about, and the assignment isn't to go do a joint venture, but the assignment is just to get really clear. And there are a million things that you can do that are just fun, that also don't yield business. So I want you to be really smart here, because what we're really looking at in social media is community. We're really looking at mobilizing community. And that's a skill that you need to get comfortable with. It's the same thing as if, here's the truth. I'm going to an event this weekend, a conference. You can hear it in my breath. It's like being around other people makes me just, it's like, having to put on high heels and makeup. And it just, there's so many things about it that are just the coldness of those rooms in terms of air conditioning. It just is all awful. And I need to do it for my business. So you learn to get comfortable with doing those sorts of things. Social media is not a medium where you get to hide. You need to be as brave as you would be if you were going to a networking event. So think about who's someone that you would share your business with. If you can't think of anyone, it's time to get out there and get more connected with people. If you can think of someone, I really want you to think about, are there demographics? are the psychology of the people you see drawn to them like yours? And we're just really using this as an exercise that's a mirror. I'm not asking you to do business with them. But if you really wanted to, certainly pairing up with someone to do a web show, to promote their things to your list and their list, will bring you so much more than if you do it alone. And the other thing that is really true is that the currency of now is sharing. The currency of now, it's why we all give free reports. It's why we all give free samples. What really works these days is people who are really willing. Like, if you can't play nice with other people in your business, you're probably not going to play nice with your customers either. So don't go out there and do anything with your joint venture yet. But just use it as an example to start to see, because when you really start to look at, I used to say in real estate, and this is the last thing that I'll say. So you'd have clients, and it would be like a big commission, and you'd be really excited. And I would say all the time to all of my agents, I was a VP at a real estate company in New York. So the management company of that building, or the brokers who represent that new condo development, they are worth so much more money to you than any single client. So like if they tell you no, they won't accept the deal on that, you can be really mad forever about a $30,000 commission that won't come through. But realize that there are billions of dollars of commission still sitting in that building, and they're your doorway to it. So in the same way, the people that you connect with in terms of your business, your colleagues, have influence over so many more people who might buy from you than any single buyer. And this pushes up lack stuff for people. I get it. You'll go, yeah, but they'll buy from me, they won't buy from you. It's just not the case. There is a circle of people that are in completely unrelated fields to me who I adore and I'm always connected with on social media. And people will buy from me and then the next person and the next person. It's like this little circle. Crazy. Actually makes very little sense, except it's telling us something quite brilliant about our connection. It's telling us quite something brilliant about the psychographics of people. And what it's led us to in listening to it is to know that we need to do something together, which is pretty brilliant too. So that's our time. I cannot stand it. Go to the Facebook page, Massive Sales via Social Media. Communicate with each other. If you're not communicating there, if you're not connecting there, you're missing out on such a huge potential for your business. Because if you're doing it all on your own, you're really missing the point of what social media is. Social media is not just about me. It's not just what I can say about my business. Social media is about groups of people. It's about group psychology. Recently, not even so recently, but there was a study that said that the hormones that are let out when someone is on Facebook are the same ones as when someone's in love. Everyone wants to be seen, be heard. Fascinating that we can do that there. So that's not about isolation. So your job is to go out and find community, and not just with the people that you think are going to give you money, but with the people who are your peers and the think up people, the people that are ahead of you on the path. You need a nice, healthy connection to all of those groups of people for your business really to move forward. Let's face it, it's like there was a story once. There was a guy whose son was in a basketball tournament, and he's like an 11-year-old kid. And he tweeted Shaq, and he said, my kid's, going to be in this tournament. He loves you. Shaq called the kid. How cool is that? So, Shaq can call you. Shaq can say great stuff about your business. There are a multitude of things that can be done. So you need to think big. You need to think in unlimited ways. And whenever you find the place where you're stuck, when you go, I can't believe Lindsay said that. I am not doing that. No way am I doing a video show. You need to star it and square it and put a box around it, and feel free to come put it on my wall and be like, I found where I'm stuck, and I'll help you get unstuck, because the stuck place is where the sales are not coming in. Greatest news of all if you could figure out where you were stuck tonight. So I hope I provided some of that for you. And I look forward to being with you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Take really good care. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you.